In this video, we're going to take a look at the Rates tab of Rate Insight, the most commonly used tab and the one you might get quite a few questions about. So here we are. This is a Wyndham subscription. They have Rate Insight, and we can see the overview page as well. If we were to look at the rates page or modules we're going to focus on now, might take a second to load, but the default view is going to be the current calendar. You'll notice this particular calendar is listed Monday through Sunday. That said, if you wanted to read Sunday through Saturday, you can change that in the settings. That said, here in the calendar settings, you can also see the color coding options. So if I wanted to adjust to be 40% instead of 10, I could do that as well and apply here. Same on the other end. If you want green to be, as long as your price is below or equal to your competitor's price, cool. If you want it to stay below 10%, something like that, you could do that as well. You would need to click apply to apply the changes you've made. So those colors are reflected here on the calendar view. This is the default again. Sometimes you'll get folks reaching out saying that their default view is going back to a previous date or a specific screen. If that's the case for Rate Insight, most likely there's a bookmark that they've created in their computer that they've saved, and it's reverting them back to that page. So they can either clear that autofill bookmark, however they want to go about that in their computer settings, browser settings, and then they'll come back to here as their default. Another thing to note is that the Rates tab has a calendar view, a graph view, and a table view. For the most part, features are the same across the board. There is this compare feature. We'll take a closer look when we look at the table view. This is only available currently on Rate Insight Table View. You will be able to access it directly from the calendar view if you were to go to compare right from the calendar settings, the date range. You could also change your date range here, maybe to view a different month, future or past, as long as it's in the system. And if we do look into this month, for example, compared to same week last year, note that if I do apply this, there's a note right here, but it says applying a comparison will redirect you to the table view. So that's exactly what will happen. But if someone doesn't note that note, they may ask, how every time I do it, it takes me to a different view. How do I keep that colorful view? That's not currently available in Rate Insight. Let's start in the calendar page or revert back. We're going to look at some of the filters here. Of course, you can change the dates you're looking at. You can flash forward. We'll talk about some restrictions when you go beyond, for example, 90 days into the future. In a little bit, you'll see a filter for room rate can be filtered by best flex, lowest, or third party. This is for booking.com. You'll note that if I were to change it to shopthechannelbrand.com, or in this case, the wyndhamhotel.com, it may limit the options. So here, just best flex, lowest. But here on booking.com, which is the default, it will show the most options. So best flex is going to be the equivalent of your bar rate or, the best available rate with still flexible cancellation options. Lowest flex is going to be the lowest flexible rate. Maybe there's some flexibility, but not as much. Lowest is going to be the lowest overall. So typically these are the ones that offer no cancellations, just how it pans out, but it could be tied in with another deal. And third party would be anything offered by third party as well. All right, channels I mentioned here. If you do shop all channels, it'll give you the lowest option between all of them based on what you choose. So in this case, the best flex between all of them. Desktop. This particular filter is showing you where the rate shopping data is coming from. Is it coming from a desktop rate shop, mobile web rate shop, mobile app? These two particularly important, as we know many customers book through their phones these days. Next, we've got the length of stay. So if you wanted to look just for one night, which is the default view, great. You can also switch it to 2, 3, 4, and so on. We can also see occupancy here. So this is how many guests you're looking at. So maybe it's 2 guests, 1. You'll see the other options here. Under the room mapping, this is set up, so whatever rooms are set here are created by you here, so you can edit the types. Here we can see the rate mapping, and I can set it up per channel. I can adjust per channel. So we get a lot of questions about this in particular. So if someone does reach out asking about where they can go to change the rate mapping or adjust what it says, this is where they can do that. You'll also see the meal options. So if someone would like to filter by just the rooms, no meal options, great. If they want to look at just bed and breakfast options and those rates, great. And then this last filter is between the primary comp set and the secondary comp set. So I can check to view where I rate in Rate Insight versus my secondary comp set. Mainly it's going to show right here, but also in the comparison as well. And as I showed a moment ago, when I hover over a particular date, I can see a pop-out window with more of a drill down of some things. I can see where my price is listed in comparison to my competitors, in this case my primary comp set, and we're looking at booking.com, best flex rates for one night, one guest, and any room bookings, any meal plan. That said, when I do break it down here, we can also see a breakdown of exactly the room that's giving that price over on the right. We'll see this more in depth on the table view as well. At the top, if I have my OTB integrated, which this particular hotel does, I'll see my OTB, my on the books percentage so far for this particular date. So looking into the future, today's December 10th, 2024. I can see that on Thursday, currently I have 39% as my on the books. That's gone up 4% since yesterday, as we can see at the bottom, changed since yesterday. You'll notice I also see a new figure now that I've gone into the future of market demand. So all Rate Insight subscriptions will have market demand listed for 90 days into the future. This is forecasting data calculated based on a few things, but largely searching algorithms that folks have done. It's forecasting market demand, things that are booking in the area, availability. And as you can see here, it is appearing in the middle. But if I were to look in the past, it's absent. So you might get that question as well. Like, where did my market demand go for last week? We don't offer that currently in Rate Insight. Same thing if I were to go, say, to April 2025. If I go beyond 90 days out without a Market Insight sub, I'm also not going to see market demand listed in the center, which we can see here. Still going to see the on the books, and on the right, the median comp rate. So let's go back to December. Just a little prettier. More data to look at. And now that we're here, we can also see on this particular date and hover when this rate shop was last updated. They do update automatically once a day, every 24 hours, based on the rate shop schedule that y'all have set up. That said, if you have questions about it or when it is scheduled, you can reach out to customer care directly about those questions. That said, we can see here that this was updated 18 hours ago last. In the upper right corner, I can also see that the whole page was updated around the same time ago. You'll notice that there is a refresh icon option up for the single day or for the entire calendar, and that allows for a live shop. One important thing to note about the live shop